Jan Steen by Heinrich Heine. This fragment newly translate is taken from the Memoiren des Herrn von Schnee-Blawowski, which was written in 1831 and published in 1834 in the first volume of the Salon. The Memoirs of Schnee-Blawowski consist simply of the hero's light sketches of Hamburg, Amsterdam, and Leyden and his experiences in those towns. They have generally excited the anger of Heine's German critics and biographers, who appear to detect a tone of irreverent levity about them, which they attribute to Parisian influences. Wagner obtained the story of his Flying Dutchman from a chapter of Schnee-Blawowski's memoirs. I and the house I lodged at in Leyden, there once lived Jan Steen, the great Jan Steen, whom I hold to be as great as Raphael, even as a sacred painter. Jan was as great, and that will be clearly seen when the religion of sorrow has passed away, and the religion of joy has torn off the thick veil that covers the rose bushes of the earth, and the nightingales dare at last to sing joyously out their long-concealed raptures. But no nightingale will ever sing so joyously. As Jan Steen painted, no one has understood so profoundly, as he that there shall be an eternal festival on the earth. He comprehended that our life is only the pictured kiss of God, and he felt that the Holy Ghost is revealed most gloriously in light and in laughter. His eye laughed into the light, and the light mirrored itself in his laughing eye, and Jan remained always a dear good child. The stern old pastor of Leyden sat near him by the hearth, and delivered a lengthy discourse concerning his jovial life, his laughing unchristian, conduct, his love of drinking, his disorderly domestic affairs, his obdurate gaiety, and Jan listened quietly for 2 long hours, and betrayed not the slightest impatience at the lengthy sermon. Only once he broke in with the words, "Yes, Damen, that light is far better. Yes, Damen, I beg of you, to draw your stool a little nearer to the fire, so that the flame may cast its red gleam over your whole face, and leave the rest of the figure in shade." The Damen stood up wrathful and departed, but Jan seized his palette and painted the stern old man, just as in that sermon on vice he had unconsciously furnished a model. The picture is excellent and hung in my bedroom at Leyden. Now that I have seen so many of Jan Steen's pictures in Holland, I seem to know the whole life of the man. I know all his relations, his wife, his children, his mother, all his cousins, his enemies, his various connection size. I know them all by sight. These faces greet us out of all his pictures, and a collection of them would be a biography of the painter. He has often, with a single stroke, revealed the deepest secrets of his soul, as I think his wife reproached him far too often about drinking too much for in the picture, which represents the bean feast, where Jan and his family are sitting at table. We see his wife with a large jug of wine in her hand and eyes beaming like a bacchante's. I am convinced, however, that the good lady never indulged in too much wine. Only the rogue wanted us to believe that it was his wife, and not he, who was too fond of drinking. That is why he laughs so joyously out of the picture. He is happy. He sits in the midst of his family. His little son is binking, and with his tinsel crown stands upon a stool. His old mother, with the happiest smirk of satisfaction in the wrinkles of her countenance, carries the youngest grandchild upon her arm. The musicians play their maddest dance melodies, and the frugal, sulky housewife is painted in an object of suspicion to all posterity, as though she were inebriated. How often during my stay at Leyden did I think myself back for whole hours into the household scenes in which the excellent Jan must have lived, and suffered many a time. I thought I saw him bodily sitting at his easel now, and then grasping the great jug, reflecting, and therewith drinking, and then again drinking without reflecting. It was no gloomy Catholic spectre that I saw, but a modern bright spirit of joy, who after death still visited his old workroom to paint merry pictures, and to drink. Only such ghosts will our children sometimes see in the light of day, while the sun shines through the windows, and from the spire no black hollow bells, but red exulting trumpet tones announce the pleasant hour of noon.